Celebrating 10 years of award-winning car talk, it's the In Wheel Time Car Show, today coming to you from the monthly Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In, out here at the Lupe Tortilla Tex-Mex restaurant on the Grand Parkway in Katy, Texas.
Woohoo!
We'll talk to a few of the participants in today's Cruise-In. We'll take a look at the events calendar. Mr. Mars reviews the 2021 Cadillac Escalade. Some people refer to it as the Escalade. I don't.
I just call it Cadillac.
And we'll have this week's auto news headlines. It's all just ahead on today's In Wheel Time Car Show. Howdy. Along with Mike out of this world, Mars.
He's out
We
there.
need more Jeff Zekin.
Hello.
And a special appearance by none other than Jeff Heitzman himself. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday morning.
Now, when you said you need more
can
Jeff,
fade the music now.
when you need more Jeff, we got two Jeffs.
We do have two Jeffs.
Next week we'll
so
have
Jeff
three
Heitzman,
Jeffs.
I wanted to give you just a little brief history on our engineer today because obviously Mr. Ainsley is out. He is winging his way to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan,
There
the
you
UP
go.
as they call it.
The UP.
And then Conrad is appropriately enough winging his way to California.
Yeah, West Coast.
And that's where he is from and needs to be from and
Well, he's-
wants to live there and wants
Conrad
to be
is from
part
a lot
of
of places. He's,
Yeah, he
he's
is.
from a lot of places. And he's,
So at any rate, neither one of those are those participants usually on this program are not here with us today. So Jeff Heitzman is a big fan of the show and has been a loyal follower for a long time. Mr. Heitzman and I go back a number of years, quite a number of years actually. Jeff worked with me at KPRC Radio as a weekend board operator and voice talent there.
Great.
Did lots of commercials for me and that sort of thing. And so Mr. Heitzman called this week and said, hey, man, I know that you're kind of running short. You need some help? I said, absolutely, we need some help.
Whether we're running short or not, we need.
We need a lot of help. We need a lot of mental help.
there you go.
So at any rate, Mr. Heitzman is over here twisting the knobs and sliding the faders.
Oh.
You got a manicure for this?
I don't know.
He
Or
did
a
not get a
He
pedicure.
did
No,
not get a
that's
pedicure.
that's strictly Conrad's thing.
Yeah, that is.
As sick as
Well,
that
speaking
may
of,
be.
I've got a little 3-day beard growth in honor of Conrad. I
Do
did
you?
it on purpose
Really?
because he's got a little beard action. So I did that in honor of Conrad. It's all coming off probably later. But.
So we are here at the Lupe Tortilla monthly cruise-in, as I mentioned in the open. This is a cruise-in that has grown in popularity immensely. And, we've had some weather threats here of late. And
Well, we always get
one or
threats.
two of them have been actually postponed to the following month. And today, well, a week ago today, we were all thinking, oh, you've got to be kidding me. There's something in the Gulf of Mexico
Right,
coming
yep.
this way.
Right.
No. And then all of a sudden it took a right-hand turn.
Yep.
Lucky us. And it is moving on along the coast of Louisiana as we speak and headed out to the East Coast.
Well, I
So
talked to you
we
this
don't
week,
have to jack with
and
that.
you said that you had a feeling it was going to turn and make the turn and go other places, and I was still kind of on the fence on that.
Well, so at any rate, it's a beautiful morning. It's going to be a hot day, but right now it is absolutely perfect out here for the Tailpipes and Tacos cruise-in. Let me tell you where we are. We're in Katy. We're along the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, which is one exit to the south of I-10, the Katy Freeway.
That's right.
And so we're out here a ways. There is another Tailpipes and Tacos cruise-in that's going on. That's happening down at what is called the West University location by many. It's
Simultaneously.
also called the Kirby location, but it's on 59, the Southwest Freeway, or I-69, whichever you prefer. Both are correct. And it is between Shepherd and Kirby. And it is on the southbound side of 5969 down there. So that's inside the loop. This one here is clearly out here at the Grand Parkway. Now that we've got all of that taken care of, it's time now to turn our attention to our first guest of the morning, who has never been on this program before, but I've known him since he was a little boy.
Uh-oh.
That's right.
Now he's a big boy.
He is a big boy.
He's a big boy.
And he's a big boy racer, too. And his name is Chase Murray. Just happens to be related to his mama, who is who is the
It's a
wife.
distant relationship.
Who is actually, he is Stan Holt's stepson.
Well, there
There you go.
Somebody has to be.
Somebody does have to be. So we've all kind of grown up together in this thing, haven't we?
That's right.
Yeah,
It's been a long time coming now.
It has been. So I started in 2007.
That's right.
And I think that's when I first met you.
Yes, sir.
Well, were you still in school?
I'd actually just graduated in 2006. So there was a few run-ins at the racetrack with you and other
That's right.
places. And
Run-ins?
With these, I was going to say run-ins.
I thought,
How do you
man,
mean that?
I don't know if I want to hang out with this guy, but here we are.
Oh, okay, so you did meet him.
And when he says guy, he says that loosely because he also knows another personality by the name of Ray Ray who
Yeah.
shows up occasionally.
Well, when he first walked up to the desk here, he said, "Hey, good morning, Ray Ray."
He did.
Yeah,
He did say that.
did say that.
I am known in some circles as Ray Ray, and that's a long story for another day. But at any rate,
Are they circles or are they?
It's a really
ovals?
long story, though.
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. So Chase Murray actually started in drag racing in junior dragsters.
That's right.
Very cool.
Started when I was 8 years old.
And your mom and dad took an interest in your drag racing career, and your mom ultimately became the head of this region's junior drag racing, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah, she kind of took over and wanted to manage and keep everybody in line, make everything run smoothly at the racetrack, and she ended up being our race director for many years.
How did that work out for you as being the son?
It was good for me. I can't complain about that.
Yeah. Well, I find it interesting and fun for me to be a big fan of yours because you are in what is, I guess, called the sportsman class?
Yes, sir. Sportsman categories.
Sportsman category. So he races a couple of divisions. One is top dragster, which we'll get to in a minute. And then he also runs a thing called super comp. And they're certainly different looking cars.
They're definitely different looking. One's a little bit longer than the other.
A little
One's
bit.
a little bit faster than the other.
Yep.
Both equally fun.
Yes. And your dad takes a great part in helping you tune.
That's
and
right.
keep the cars going. And it's kind of become a full-time gig for you, hasn't it?
Yes, sir. Yeah, he's my dad is definitely the crew chief behind it all and keeps everything all the.
But he
wheels
always
on the
has
track.
been from the beginning because
Yeah.
he was a drag racer guy back when he was a kid.
Right. Yeah, we've always been into cars and hot rods and everything like that.
So what was your last event that you just ran?
I want to say it was last month. I actually like to go run Baton Rouge Raceway quite a bit.
Okay.
With my work schedule now, it's kind of hard to pull away certain events.
Good
but,
success there for that track that you mentioned, or?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So, if weather holds out, I'll actually be in Baytown tomorrow at a local
Oh.
bracket event at Houston Raceway Park.
That was my next question. Where's the next event?
That's it. Hopefully, they were supposed to have a bigger event. Obviously, the rain threat kind of pushed that away, but they're still going to try to have the smaller bracket deal tomorrow.
So what'd you bring today?
I brought my 2015 Chevrolet Corvette.
Oh, okay.
And I see it sitting over there. And has it had a little paint work, or did it come stock with that black thing in the middle of the hood?
There's been a little bit of modifications, a lot of carbon fiber, little exhaust work, here
Yep.
and there. Can't leave anything stock.
And I assume that is your friend in the blue Corvette
That
you parked
is.
next to.
Yes, it's a
And
beautiful.
whose car is that?
That's my buddy Pilo. He
Pilo.
has that's it.
That's
Pilo
not his real
Avila.
name.
Well, I have to ask him that. He's he's straight out of Zacatecas, Mexico.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yes, sir.
So
Yeah.
it could be, isn't it?
That's it.
Good vacation spot.
Yeah. So
Those of you that are watching the broadcast, it's the two vehicles to the right of the shop that we've got pulled up right now.
Yeah, over on the right-hand side.
Yep.
So let's go and talk about your drag racing while we're here. I mean, why not? So the top dragster, and I kind of questioned him really before we went on the air this morning, but I think that everybody will find it interesting about a top dragster. And this is not a top fuel dragster.
that's right. It's
This particular car runs on methanol,
yes, sir.
and you can't get methanol at the local Chevron station.
No, you
Didn't we
cannot.
drink some of that last night?
I think we did have some, yeah, we did probably in those tequila shots. But at any rate, so why is it running on methanol?
So the sole purpose of that, it has a supercharger on top of the engine. It's a 509 cubic inch motor. Got a big supercharger on it, 1471. the reason for the methanol, you'll see on a few other cars, it cools down that charge of air through the engine. It helps keep the rotors cool on the supercharger.
And it also, because of the coolness of it, when it ignites, it loves that.
It does.
It makes a lot of horsepower.
Cool air flowing through there is going to make way more horsepower, so it helps out all the way around.
So you have the blades on the inside of the turbo.
So
no, it's not a turbo.
Supercharger.
Supercharger.
Okay,
So-
supercharger.
Right.
So you got a supercharger sitting on top of a big block.
Right.
So what's the difference between a top dragster and a top fuel dragster?
So a top fuel dragster is about 2 classes above me, and they
Okay.
actually use a fuel called nitromethane,
Okay.
which is
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's made to detonate, and it makes way more horsepower, but they've got a whole different setup.
So that's kind of the difference then, is because is still an alcohol dragster, isn't there? A class.
right. There's
You
a
step
top
up,
alcohol dragster.
and then you got top dragster, and then top fuel.
Right.
dragster.
Basically, it's top dragster, go up 1 step, top alcohol dragster, and then top fuel.
Okay.
It's 1
and
step above.
Difference in the fuel and how the engine's built to handle the fuel.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
So where's your step? Where's your next step? You gonna go into that?
My next step could either be top alcohol dragster or top fuel, depending on funding, what races we want to go to, how far we want to travel,
Events per year, that type of thing.
Yes, sir.
Crew, all that.
Yeah, it all plays a factor in it. Obviously, you step up to the big leagues, top fuel, you got to have a full crew.
We're
2
talking about
trailers.
millions of dollars.
Yes, you're
Yeah.
talking $3 to $5 million per year.
Right.
If you wanted to go top alcohol racing, you're looking at $15,000, $20,000 per weekend. So there's a pretty big difference in that.
Yeah.
One's a little bit more forgiving on the pocketbook.
Well, the more you win, the more you're out there, and you get the name and the vehicle and the car, and then your sponsors come to you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to get exposure out there and talk to the right people, right time, right place.
Well, let's get back to your car. So, can you go out and buy a top dragster? Can anybody do that?
You can. There's a select few chassis builders around the whole United States.
What does a chassis cost?
You're looking, a brand new chassis is anywhere between $20,000 to $25,000
Now,
for
that's just,
a
that's
bare
not
chassis.
a roller. That's just the chassis.
That's right. That's the
Then
bare
you gotta-
chassis, and
yeah.
you have to add the rear end, the wheels, the wing,
And the motor.
exhaust,
Is this
transmission.
Chrome moly chassis, the tubular. type?
That's right.
Okay.
And the motor, let's get back to that because I keep getting interrupted. You said it turns out about 2,000 horsepower.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I assume that it really sucks down the fuel pretty quick.
It does. We and especially since methanol versus racing gasoline, methanol burns almost at a rate of twice, compared to
Yeah.
racing gasoline.
Yeah.
So on a typical 5-second, 6-second run in the quarter mile, you can suck down 4.5 gallons, and that's strictly cranking it up, doing a burnout, running the car, and shutting it off.
Right. And methanol, correct me if I'm wrong, is pretty much a corn-based
Yes, sir.
fuel.
Yes,
And it takes a lot more of it than it would for regular gasoline
That's exactly
to
right.
burn in there, and that's how it works.
Yes, sir.
It takes an enormous amount. And you can buy methanol there at the track?
Yes, sir. Most tracks have it. It's used pretty widely.
I'm
around.
sure, yeah. Well, you have a lot of competition in that class.
Oh, for sure. It's last year and the year before, they really ramped up all these other engine combinations, such as a ProCharge combination, nitrous combination. It's really tough out there.
Yeah. And how are you doing as far as placement right now in your class in this division?
Right now in this division, since COVID happened, my work schedule, I haven't got to make as many races as I wanted to, so I'm pretty far down there in points-wise. For example, we have 6 to 7 events per year on a divisional level. I've only got to make 1 this year.
Oh, my.
So
So really, to compete at the level on a serious basis, you have to go to every race, and
That's right.
every point counts.
that's right. Every point from pulling up there and going first, second, third round, whatever it may be, every point counts, and all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Wow.
So let's go back to the car for just a second. Is it an automatic transmission? Does it have a clutch? Does it have gears?
It uses a 2-speed power glide transmission, but
Old school power glide.
It is automatic. We have it set up to shift on RPM timer. As soon as it hits 7,200 RPMs, it automatically air shifts, and I'm gone.
Right, and you don't physically have to shift it. You don't go from like low 1 to low 2.
No. It's got a little air cylinder right behind the shifter. As soon as it hits that trigger point, it's in high gear.
And you could adjust that trigger point.
That's
whenever
correct.
you wanted to shift
if we
it.
need
Based on
to
RPM.
track conditions, whether it's weather. If the track isn't prepped as good as it should, you can adjust that down for tire slippage and whatnot.
So you can easily really light the tires up.
Oh, yes.
If you don't tune it just right.
Yeah, there's been situations before when we get out about 700, 800 feet down the track and it's not prepped as well as it should. It'll actually start to spin the tires, and you're looking at 170, 180 miles an hour in the half track. And you wouldn't think you would spin the tires in, but you've got data loggers that show otherwise.
Wow.
Right.
Do you feel it when it does?
Definitely. It'll actually start walking sideways.
Now, if I recall that you have had one accident,
That's right.
and
And that's the scenario I was exactly talking about
yeah,
right there.
it was tire slippage, and before you could catch it and get your foot off the accelerator, it was coming around on
Yep,
you.
that's it. As
Yep.
soon as it was about 900 foot out, you could see the track prep starting to go away. We tried to slow it down, add more wing angle. They tried to prep the track more, and before I could catch it and lift off of it, it already started coming around and flipped me on the side into the wall. It wasn't very violent, but it did cause a lot of damage to the chassis.
Yeah.
And how did it do to your psyche?
It actually wasn't as bad as I thought. There was a little bit of going on the side, but it wasn't a violent crash, so it didn't hurt me too much.
Yeah. Wow.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
I see that Stan has rolled up in his.
Stan has arrived.
Yes, in his Pontiac Catalina.
It is
and
gorgeous.
we'll talk. Yeah, we'll talk more to him about that in a little bit. Okay, so let's go over to the Super Comp car. I don't know as if I've ever seen the Super Comp car. Have I?
You might have. They have very similar paint jobs, so some people, if they're not paying attention too much, they can slip
Well,
right
that would
by.
be me.
That's right.
Yeah. So this top dragster that runs on methanol with the big supercharger on the top of it, it'll do the quarter mile in 5.9 seconds.
Yes, sir. 230 miles an hour, 5.9 seconds. When you switch over to the Super Comp car, it's an index-based class, which goes to 8.9 seconds.
And if you go under 8.9 seconds, then you're out.
That's right.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So it's the bracket.
It's a bracket class. They
Yeah.
call it index, but it's still basically a bracket class. And
Right.
both cars are set up the same to try and run 8.9 seconds.
Wow.
Get the closest that you can to it.
And do you actually run under? I know that you don't want to run
You
under.
don't want to, but sometimes
It happens
With
because
track-
you still have to beat the other guy in the other lane.
that's right. You want to try and make it to the finish line before him without going quicker than 8.9
So
seconds.
even if you break out on the low end, you still know that number. So the next time you run,
That's right.
you know where to set that.
Yeah, well,
That's
then
right.
look, it's a stranger in paradise. We're talking to Stan Holt.
Got his
Sheila,
wild hound.
Mama's here, and Mama's looking good. She's got her Beetlejuice shirt on
And
today.
I saw her roll in the new vet, and then Stan trailed her
yeah.
shortly thereafter.
Well, it's so good to see you guys because I haven't seen you, and Mama's here.
Yeah.
I haven't seen you guys in, 4 months? I think so. Y'all been traveling around and everything. We'll get to that a little bit.
Yeah.
So we're deep into conversation over here with your son, and I want to continue the conversation. So, which is harder to drive, the top dragster or the Super Comp car?
I'd have to say, honestly, they're equal. When you're looking at the top dragster, you weigh in the weather conditions slightly. It's a lot faster ride, so it can easily get away from you.
Well, the top dragster has got a much longer wheelbase than the Super Comp.
That's right. Well, top dragster is right at 272-inch wheelbase. The Super Comp car compared is 245. So you've got several feet difference on the two.
Yeah.
Wow.
And what kind of a body does the Super Comp car have on it?
Super Comp car has an aluminum fitted body to fit around the chassis. versus the top dragster. It's a whole carbon fiber one piece. So the Super Comp car actually has multiple panels pieced together.
Right.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Just, just the way they build them?
If you're not
Yeah,
familiar,
actually, I guess it's about a split now, 50-50. But most dragsters that you see out there will have multiple panels. If you need to get in one section and repair wiring or repair something,
That's
just
what I
pop
thought.
one
That's why it surprised me when you said it's a one-piece unit.
Right.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, it still has maybe a small access panel on top for electronics and a fuel door up front.
Set the pressures and things.
Yeah, anything that you need to change before a run or in between rounds. Because actually the fuel cell for the Super Comp car is right behind the driver's compartment versus top dragster, it's in the nose.
That's for weight also.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You have to factor all that in too. I mean, you could have I've got about a 9-gallon tank on the top dragster, and the Super Comp car is right about 5 gallons. So you need the extra fuel capacity for the top dragster.
well,
because we're running
let's
methanol.
talk about the Super Comp car motor, because we talked about the top dragster motor, 2,000 horsepower, supercharged. That's right ahead of a Power Glide 2-speed transmission. That's
right.
basically automatic, and you set when it shifts, and that's it.
Right. That's right.
So how about the Super Comp car? What kind of motors it got in it?
The Super Comp car is based off a big block Chevy. It's 582 cubic inches, and on the dyno, it made just under 1,100 horsepower.
So it's pretty much half the horsepower as the top dragster car.
That's right.
Yeah. And so what about the transmission in it?
It also features the same Power Glide transmission,
Okay.
2-speed, automatic shift with the air solenoid.
So it's similar. It's shorter. It's got half the horsepower. And what does it do in the quarter mile?
In the quarter mile, we shoot with the index at 8.9 seconds, 175 miles an hour.
Okay. That's still pretty fast.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I guess that there are street cars that'll do that, but not too many.
Not too many, no, sir.
Yeah. And so do you take both of them to the track at the same time and race them in their own categories at the same time?
That's what we try to do.
Yeah.
At most divisional events with NHRA, they allow us to run both classes. So we'll load up one dragster backwards and the other one forward, and they go right next to each other in the bottom of the trailer.
Gotcha.
So
And so now, are you going to bring both tomorrow to Baytown?
actually, no, that race is more fitted towards the Super Comp car, which I'll be running in bracket race mode, which means that I will turn the throttle stop off and we will run 1/8 mile only. And in the 1/8 of a mile, that car will run 4.7 seconds, 145 miles an hour.
In an eighth of a
1/8
mile.
of a mile, yes, sir.
Wow. Sounds like
A little
what
over 600 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like,
660 feet, yes,
Yeah.
sir.
sounds like Mike's on-ramp acceleration test is what it sounds like.
Hardly.
No, not even close to that.
Yeah. So when it comes time to rebuild these motors, I know that that's an ugly word for you, but every once in a while they have to be rebuilt.
Right, yeah. Usually
And how much does a rebuild cost, and how often does that happen?
you can look at a price range of $4,000 to $6,000, depending on how long you've ran it. If you want to be on the safe side, obviously, if something lets go, it hurts the motor, you're looking at a lot more.
Yeah,
so
a lot more.
you want to be proactive on most of that stuff. Look at piston rings, pistons, valve springs, bearings for sure.
And does your dad do that?
He actually does. He actually just started a new business called Diamondback Performance in Orange, Texas this past year. Got a 5-axis CNC machine, working on getting an engine dyno. So things are slowly getting up and running.
But you don't get it. You take it in on a Tuesday. You don't get it back on Wednesday.
No, sir. No, it takes a little bit of
Yeah,
time.
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Especially now, it seems like everybody's having trouble with shipping issues, getting parts, stuff like that. Everything's taking a lot longer, and
Right.
not even factoring in the manual labor it takes to tear everything down. And when you go back together with stuff like that, it's not just quick. It's take your time. Make
It's
sure
not a
measured.
street motor.
No.
That's right. No.
Right. Yeah, you have to be pretty precise
So
with
are
it.
the parts being slow, is that kind of bothering you as far as your racing effort goes?
Not as far as racing wise, but as far as rebuilding motors, getting customer stuff out, it
And
does.
parts and that sort of
Mhm.
stuff. Do you have one major supplier that you use to work on your race cars? You Summit or somebody like that?
We use, honestly,
Multiple?
multiple. I wouldn't say there's one big conglomerate that would take care of everything. But,
Right. So you buy your pistons from this guy. You
Right.
buy bearings from this person.
Yep.
I got you.
If we need cylinder heads, we'll call somebody else. It just depends, really,
Yeah,
what the case may be.
yeah. You know, what a fun hobby.
It is, yes, sir.
Yeah, it is. So, how old are you?
I'm 32.
He's 32. I know he's still your baby. Let's see. I've known him since 2007. Let's do the math. So that would be 14 years ago.
So he was like 16, 17, 18.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
18.
Yeah. So, yeah. And so Mama's here.
And you survived knowing him. That's really good.
Barely.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And so home is still over in Orange, Texas?
Yes, sir.
Well, Mr. Mars
Your
here
neighbors.
lives in Needlerville.
I just learned that out a while ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Small world.
So when you need some help,
Yeah.
don't call him. I'm just saying. Yeah,
He's a
right.
good wrench.
yeah. He does okay. He holds his own here on the In Wheel Time Show. But when it comes to anything else, that's it. Chase Murray, it's great to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
I've let time slip by, and we've got to move on because we
right.
got other stuff we got to do.
Thank you
but
guys for having me. and
Thank you
talking.
very much, man. It's great to see you, and a great interview, and we really appreciate you.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. All right, time now for this hour's car review. Mr. Mars had a chance to drive the 2021 Cadillac Escalade.
And let me tell you, I was styling and profiling in that thing. So what we're talking about, the 2021 Cadillac Escalade Premium Luxury with four-wheel drive. And the
Cool.
whole works. Full-size, body-on-frame, luxury, get-you-some SUV. Now, Escalade's been around for a long time, and so I was surprised to learn that this is actually the fifth generation of this vehicle. So they find something that works, and they keep it for a while. Did the same thing with the Suburban. So you can get it in a 7 or 8 passenger model. On the exterior, it's got some vertical lighting
So wait a
elements.
minute. In the Escalade, you could get a bench seat in the second and third rows.
Yes, it's optional.
How bizarre.
In fact, there's a couple of other things that are bizarre I'm going to point out as we go through this. So outside, you've got the big grill up front with the Escalade emblem, the Cadillac emblem on it. It's got vertical lighting elements. Now, this is horizontal headlights, but it's also got the vertical elements on it, as well as the big, tall, like 30-something inch tall tail lights that are in the back of this thing.
Those are awesome.
That are really cool looking. So we had the rain-sensing front wipers. The rear wiper is actually hidden behind the rear spoiler, so it's out of sight unless it's running. Power side steps. We had a panoramic sunroof, and in a vehicle this size, we are talking panoramic. Had the hands-free power liftgate, 22-inch polished 14-spoke wheels. We were rolling on some 22s, Jeff.
Man.
Soft closed doors. A lot of nice things on the outside.
I like
but when
the
you
soft
get
closed
to
door.
the interior, now this is where it was really cool because we were in the premium luxury trim level. We had the Moulin leather seating.
Mulan.
Moulin.
Like the Moulin Rouge?
Well, there were several Moulins you could do. The front seats are heated and vented. The second row seats, which are standard, come with captain's chairs. Those were heated. However, you can get an optional, no charge, optional bench seat in that second row if you'd like to have one.
No charge.
The front seats also have massaging, and the third row is the 60/40. Now, because it has the independent suspension that we'll
So
talk
when
about
you were
later.
driving me around in the Escalade, I can sit in the back seat with my arm around my girl in the bench seat.
I
Which you
mean-
can't, but the captain's chairs, you can't do that.
Well, we dropped the captain chairs down, put you in the third row so
There
you
you
can be
go.
styled and profiled because it does have the independent suspension in the rear now, so it gives more leg room, about 10 inches more leg room back there in the third row. I can actually sit in the third row.
On your Mulan seats.
And I can listen to the 36 speaker AKG stereo auto surround system while I'm back
36?
there. Now, it also comes, we had the 14.2-inch cluster display where you normally find your gauges and things, and we had the 7.2-inch control screen over the side of it, and they back up together with just a little bit of a divider and almost makes this really long display panel in the dash, but we also had the heads up.
I typically use the word cluster in other ways,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we won't get into that now.
Not in this case.
Okay.
But the heads-up display's got a lot of things on it. It's multicolored. It was really impressed with that. So we also, let's see, that gave that 10-inch there. So you got to have something to move this thing because it weighs 5,600 pounds. So we had the 6.2-liter V8, which is a standard engine, 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque, backed by a 10-speed automatic.
Perfect.
Now, there is an option coming this year that you can get a 3.0-liter diesel if you want one at no cost.
So when
There's
you're
another no-cost option.
trailering your 100-foot yacht, then you don't have to worry about anything. Just put the diesel in it, and you're good to go.
That's right.
With your bench seat.
But no upgrade charge. So EPA says on the 6.2 you should be looking for about 14 in the city, 19 on the highway, 16 combined. Well, I got almost 15 out of it. And one of the things I really liked about this thing is the power, the smooth power. That 10-speed automatic didn't have to search for gears. Sometimes you didn't even know it had 10-speed because of the combination with the 420 horsepower. Worked really well. And then you get that independent rear suspension out on the highway. Combine that with the optional magnetic ride control.
It's a
with air
limousine.
suspension. It is, and
It's
it
a
rides
Cadillac.
like it. And you can see, you going down Interstate 10, I could see why these people are sitting out here in the $50 lane passing me, and I'm doing 80, and they're passing me like I'm sitting still. This is a highway hauler.
What's the $50 lane? What is that?
That's where you go whenever you want to go fast.
Oh, okay.
Costs extra to get there. Now, if you're looking for competitors to this
Because he
thing,
gets tickets.
you're going to
I
have
know.
to be looking at something that's big, like a Lincoln Navigator. You also can look at the GMC Yukon Denali. It's about as close as the GMC family's going to get to that Cadillac, but it's really, from a luxury standpoint, there's really no comparison. You can get a base Escalade for $76,195. However,
Yeah.
we had the premium
We're
luxury.
sitting down and holding on.
Four-wheel drive, all that good stuff.
Uh-huh.
Starts at $85,995.
But yours-
we had some options.
Yeah.
And we rolled up to $106,810
Oh.
in a car that I just loved driving.
I'll take two.
I would two would be good.
Did you take your wife for a ride in it?
Oh, I did. I took her as many rides as I could. The massaging seats, the stereo, the moonlight. I tried my
boy.
best.
I can only
That's what your
imagine.
young kids are calling it now.
Hey, the In-Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts are available at your favorite podcast provider. The In-Wheel Time Car Show continues right after this quick break. Let me tell you about a locally owned and operated group of dealerships called Bayway. Bayway owner Daryl Wisniewski is born and raised right here, and he knows Houstonians better than anyone. Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, Bayway Lincoln, and Bayway Chevrolet are managed by Lincoln Stahl. And when you get to know these guys, you'll want to become part of the Bayway family too. Feel good that you're part of Houstonian-owned Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.com, BaywayChevrolet.com, and BaywayLincoln.com. Remember the name, Bayway. Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier monthly car cruise-in, returns Saturday, July 17th at 2 Lupe Tortilla Mexican restaurants in Katy and inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway near Kirby. Tailpipes and Tacos is free and everyone's invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods at 2 locations. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event at the Lupe Tortilla Mexican restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy, and inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway near Kirby. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupe founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise-in. Tailpipes and Tacos, inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway in Kirby, and in Katy on the Grand Parkway just south of I-10, where you'll see the In-Wheel Time Car Show. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise-in, July 17th, 8 to 11 a.m., weather permitting. You see all the new ceramic car wash cleaners on TV now, but John Gray at Gulf Coast Auto Shield has been using ceramic coatings on Houston's most expensive cars for years, and he'll tell you that nothing beats the real thing. Gulf Coast Auto Shield installs a coating over your paint that actually comes with a warranty. If you just picked up your Lambo, your Aston Martin, Porsche, Ferrari, any other exotic car, chances are your car will have company that have already found Gulf Coast Auto Shield. Now, you don't have to own an exotic. Maybe you got a truck, an SUV, or even an older vehicle that needs a little love. Well, let John Gray give it a look and give you an estimate on refurbishing that paint and making your vehicle look new again. How about getting a gift certificate for the wife's birthday or anniversary from Gulf Coast Auto Shield and tell her, honey, I know you love your car, so why don't we get it looking new again? It'll be the best gift ever, one that she'll never forget. Get hold of John Gray at gcautoshield.com or give him a call, 832-264-0670. Gulf Coast Auto Shield.